Fair use disclaimer. Fair use disclaimer.
Bill Gates basically built a bunker on every single property that he has. He tunneled under the ground. He went to the houses. His bunkers on average were about $5 million a piece. And my understanding is he did 11 of them. My type of bunker that I usually make is a pre-manufactured bunker. We make it out of steel. We make it in a factory. We put it on a truck and we transport it. And then we set up a crane. We pick it up. We set it down on a concrete pad and we bolt it all together like an erector set. And then we start welding all the seams. We start hooking up all the plumbing, the electrical. We put in generators. We put on an escape tunnel. We fill it with sand, and then we cover it up, and then we put landscape on top of it. So when we leave, you don't even know we were there. I'll put it this way. One of the top 5 richest people in the world I did that for.
It's the book of Psalm, chapter 2, and verse 1. New Living Translation. Why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The kings of the earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and against his anointed one. Let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to God. But the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that do rule and teach well, that have taught us this truth correctly through the Holy Spirit. Peace salutations to the elect, 144,000, and the multitude scattered to the four corners of the earth that are fighting and enduring into the end, Lord willing. This is Brother Lawyer with GMS Wisconsin. Lord willing, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, I can edify somebody. So I'm going to do a little lesson on E's futile plans. I'm going to title this lesson, E, your plans are futile. All right. You know, I just showed a little video at the beginning of this lesson about a little short that I found on YouTube about how Bill Gates, with every property that he has ever built, you know, and he's a billionaire many times over. Okay. How he has built deep underground bunkers on every property that he has ever built. All right. Now, why is Esau Edom, all right, the so-called white man, starting with the top banking families, all right, on down, why are they doing this? Why is Bill Gates building bunkers underneath his mansion homes and his houses and all his properties that he's buying? All right, because ultimately they're trying to escape the inevitable. They're trying to escape thermonuclear destruction. They're trying to escape Yahushai and the angels when the Lord returns back to the earth. All right, but it is utterly futile. It is utterly pointless. It is already written in the Bible that these devils, all right, who is Esau Edom, who is the devil according to the Bible, are the wicked, pursuant to Malachi, the first chapter, first and foremost. Okay, it is already written that you are to be dismantled from your position of authority, all right, and ultimately put into captivity and eventually destroyed and wiped off the earth. All right, the Edomites will be wiped out according to the Bible. Okay, so I read Psalm 2:1 because it is a perfect precept, all right, to read when it comes to describing you devils, man. And we're going to read it again. Psalm 2:1. Why, in the NLT, why are the nations so angry? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The Lord is speaking directly to you. Okay. He's speaking to you heathen nations, man. Why are you so angry? Meaning, like, why do you try to buck up at him? You know, it says, why do you waste your time with futile plans? Let's see the definition of the word futile. Let's just see what comes up on Google. This is the definition of futile on Google. It says incapable of producing any useful result, pointless. So you building an underground bunker is considered utterly pointless, according to the Bible, man. It's incapable of producing any useful result. All right. You know, well, for you top banking families that got a lot of money that can afford, you know, high level, deep underground bunkers. All right. It is prophesied that some of the elites are going to escape nuclear destruction. Okay. We're going to grab those precepts. Okay. It is prophesied that, you have some elite families that are going to escape nuclear destruction, but they're going to be yanked up out of those nuclear, those underground bunkers, man. Okay. But let's keep going. Verse 2, the kings of the earth prepare for battle. And that's one way they prepare for battle is by, stacking up a lot of artillery, stacking up everything they would need in case of an emergency. All right. And when Yahushua comes back, of course, they're going to try to fight him, man. It says the rulers plot together against the Lord and against his anointed one. All right. The Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, and his only begotten son's name is Yahushua. Yahushua is the ultimate anointed one. All right. But you also have the elect under Yahushua, the 144,000, ultimately Salakia. Under Yahushua, you have the 12 disciples. Salakia, King David, 12 disciples, 144,000, the multitude, and ultimately 2/3 of the nation of Israel on down. Salakia, slip of the tongue. Okay. But the kings of the earth, which are the upper banking families, all right, the elites of these heathen nations, beginning with Esau, Edom, they're preparing for battle by building these bunkers, man, and they're plotting together. That's why they're having these World Economic Forums. That's why they're having these secret meetings and these little summit meetings that they're having, amongst each other, and these little meetings they have with Satan behind closed doors, because they want to know exactly what's going on pertaining to prophecy, which is that which is said before. It says, against the Lord and against his anointed one, let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to the Most High. So that's why it's futile, all right? Because Esau honestly thinks, these other nations honestly think they can build deep underground bunkers and escape the judgment of the Lord, man. Okay? Why are they trying to free themselves from slavery to the Most High? Because they know what is written. We're going to come back to Psalm chapter 2. But it's already written that those that led people into captivity have to go into captivity, man. If you plotted, schemed, helped, planned, or even funded, all right, a slave trade of the nation of Israel, God's chosen people, if you had anything to do, if you touched the Lord's anointed, man, if you touched the apple of his eye, all right, this is talking about you and all of you nations. All right, it is written in the Bible that each and every one of y'all have conspired together against the nation of Israel. All right, so you are prophesied to go into captivity, first and foremost, starting with the Edomites, man, you so-called white people, you Europeans, man, whether you're French Caucasian, Spanish Caucasian, Russian Caucasian, German Caucasian, American Caucasian, whatever Caucasian, man, you are an Edomite according to the Bible, and you are prophesied to go into hardcore slavery when Yahushua and the angels return, man, because the worlds are going to change. Revelation 13:9, and we're going to read down to 10. It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. Why is that being said? Because this is a parable. A lot of people will have a hard time wrapping their head around this when they read it, but it's written in the Bible, man. All right, verse 10, it's important to read it in the KJV. It's one of those scriptures that you're only going to get the proper understanding when you read it either in the KJV, all right, or in the original Hebrew. Okay, it says, verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Who led the nation of Israel? All right, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians through the seed of our fathers, and of course the Israelites scattered into the other nations. Okay, who led the Israelites into captivity? You other nations, you so-called white people first and foremost, man. You top banking families, you funded the slave ships, man. So this is what you're trying to hide from. Because it says in the Bible, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Just like you plotted to bring us down as a nation, you're going to get brought down as a nation. All right, let's see what it says for captivity in the Greek. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. It just says captivity.
Strong's G 161. Achmalusia. Achmalusia.
Achmalusia. What does that root word say? See, it says a captive. All right, we're gonna look it up on Google because Esau like to try to play games sometimes. What is captivity? All right, it says the condition of being imprisoned or confined. So you Edomites have confinement to look forward to. All right. It says restraint, bondage, arrest. Look, slavery, servitude. Okay. The state of being a slave. Servitude, the state of being a slave or completely subject to someone more powerful. Come on, man. And of course, the Israelites, beginning with the elect, are going to be way more powerful than you. All right. When Yahushua returns, the elect are going to receive spiritual bodies, man. And guess what? We're going to take you other nations down into slavery. Lord willing, I'm part of that number. And anyone that listens to this lesson. Revelation 13:10, he that leadeth into captivity, okay, bondage, servitude, slavery, shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, so this is really what Esau is trying to hide from. This is what he's trying to escape. But guess what? It says here's the patience and the faith of the saints. The saints represent the Israelites, beginning with the elect. We are patiently, Lord willing, be part of that number. The saints are patiently and faithfully waiting, okay, for those that led us into captivity to go into captivity, and for those that killed us with the sword to be killed with the sword, man. So let's go back to Psalm chapter 2. All right, Psalm chapter 2. And verse 3 again, it says, let us break their chains, they cry, and free ourselves from slavery to the Most High. You can't escape, man. That's why the Lord asked the question, why are you wasting your time with futile plans? Verse 4, it says, but the one who rules in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. He's laughing at you because he knows you are wasting your time, whatever you do. Okay, you cannot escape. Okay, the prophecy. First and foremost, you can't escape prophecy. And guess what? You can't escape what the Lord has destined for you, man. This is the book Isaiah chapter 55 and verse 8. And it reads, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. All right. Speaking about the Lord in comparison to, all right, those of us here on earth, first and foremost, the Israelites. But we can apply this to you damn heathens as well. The Lord's thoughts are not your thoughts, man. Okay, anyone that is in human flesh, that is in a fleshly body, you are subject to the earth. You are subject to vanity, all right, and futile plans and thoughts, man. It says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. We can apply that to those deep underground bunkers. All right. The thoughts you're having to escape what the Lord has already planned for you. OK, there's nothing you can do to just change that. Let's go to Proverbs 20 and 24 real quick, because whatever the Lord got in store for you, there's nothing you can do to escape that, man. Proverbs 20 and 24, man's goings are of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. How can a man then understand his own way? We can't. There's nothing we can do to change, manipulate, all right, or try to understand what the Lord has planned for us, man. All right, we don't know our future. Our lives are not in our hands. Our lives are in the hands of the Lord, even you heathen nations. All right, but when it comes to prophecy and what is important in terms of salvation and deliverance for the elect, okay, that's in the hand of the Lord. When it comes to captivity and destruction of you other nations, starting with Esau, Edom on down of the heathen, that's in the hand of the Lord, man. But guess what? It's written in prophecy. Jeremiah 10 and 23, O Lord, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. There's nothing you can do to change, manipulate, or understand what the Lord has destined in the earth, man. The prophecies he has brought forth. Let's go back to Isaiah 55 real quick. It's just 2 more verses on there, then we're going to go back to Psalm 2. All right. Verse 10, it says, for as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth and maketh it bring forth in bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So just like rain comes down and waters the earth, just like snow comes down, okay, and it turns into water or whatever it does to cause plants and herbs and seeds to bud and bring forth in the earth. All right, to feed the hungry and give crops to farmers. All right, and those who like to harvest. Verse 11, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Meaning what? Whatever the Lord has said is going to happen. Whatever the Lord said is going to happen will be. It will come to pass, man. So let's go to Isaiah. Salakia. We're going to go to, Salakia, Isaiah 24. It's already written in prophecy for you heathens to feel the anger of the Lord, man. Okay. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 24. I'm going to just start at verse 20. Isaiah 24 and 20, just to get to the point. It says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. Meaning, when those thermonuclear missiles rain down on this place, it's going to make the earth stagger back and forth. All right, because the earth is going to shake, as it is written. All right, the foundations of the earth are going to be totally destroyed, man. Okay, and it says that the elements of the earth are going to melt. Let's grab that real quick. 2 Peter 3 and 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, meaning it will come unexpectedly, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. This is all going to happen as a result of those thermonuclear missiles. It says, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. That's a future prophecy of thermonuclear destruction. Well, that's exactly what's being spoken of in Isaiah 24, man. Okay. So it says, verse 21 of Isaiah 24, it says, and it shall come to pass, meaning it will happen in that day, that the Lord, Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high. Speaking of you upper echelons, you top elites, you top banking families, you Edomites, man, you Rothschilds, you Rockefellers, man, you DuPonts, you Gettys, all you banking families that are billionaires and trillionaires many times over. The Lord says he's going to punish the host of the high ones that are on high. That's talking about you top banking families, man, you top wicked elite. It says, and the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6 really quick. All right, because this is talking about you being yanked out of those underground military bunkers, man, that you're going to put all your trust in. There's nothing you can do to stop the plans that the Lord has for you heathens, man. Revelation 6 and 13, future prophecy of thermonuclear destruction. Okay, this is a vision that John the Revelator saw on the Isle of Patmos. Okay, the Lord sent him a series of visions. Revelation 6 and 13, and the stars of heaven, speaking of the nuclear missiles, fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. When you shake a fig tree, the figs fall to the ground. He's likening those nuclear missiles unto figs falling from a fig tree. Verse 14, speaking of John the Revelator, it says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. That's the power of those thermonuclear missiles. Okay, we're talking over 100 million degrees of heat. Okay, it's going to obliterate solid foundations. Anything you think that can withstand, all right, that is in the pathway of those nuclear missiles will be obliterated to dust and ashes, man. Verse 15, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. That's those underground bunkers. Your futile plans, Esau. Okay, you're gonna try to hide in there. All right, you got your little generators, you got your your gadgets, you got everything you need down there. I'm talking about you wicked rich Edomites, man. You think you're gonna escape? Verse 16, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Well, guess what? You're going to run in there when those missiles start raining down. All right, because in your futile mind, you believe you're gonna permanently escape. Well, guess what? You're not going to hide, man. You're not going to escape. All right, because either there's three things that are going to happen. You're going to run, okay? which is what the elites are going to do. Okay, you're going to try to run and hide. You're going to be caught. Okay, or you're just going to be destroyed, man. Okay, those that are caught are going directly into captivity, but those that escape, that actually make it into those deep underground bunkers and actually make it through nuclear destruction, you're going to be yanked out of your nuclear bunkers, man, by angelic forces. Speaking of the elect that are going to be in spiritual bodies, we're going to be able to walk through walls, man. We're talking about a spiritual body. You think that because you're going to be behind steel walls and steel bars that you're going to be able to escape a spiritual being. If the Lord wants an angel to come and grab you from 10 miles under the earth, the angel can do that and bring you right to the surface. Okay, so this is what they're saying. Verse 17, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Nobody, especially you heathens, man. There's nothing you can do. Okay, and then finally verse 22, it says, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Khan, I believe I read that. And that's going to happen when you are put in captivity, man. Okay? You're going to be visited. Because guess what? Your crowns, Apostle Tahar said it beautifully. Your crowns are going to be slapped off of your head, and you're going to be given work assignments, man. That's exactly what's getting ready to happen. Let's read it in the NLT. They will be rounded up and put in prison. They will be shut up in prison and will finally be punished. Come on, man. Barakatah Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. We're looking forward to this, man. And this is going to happen through the power of the elect, man. Okay, who are going to be given spiritual bodies. Jeremiah 16:16, behold, I will send for many fishers. This is a future prophecy. It says, saith the Lord, the fishers are those who are coming to catch the prey. You heathens, man, that think you're going to escape the judgment of the Lord. It says, and they shall fish them, and after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. So guess what? First and foremost, the Lord sent the prophets to warn, all right, the Israel, okay, of what's coming on the earth, and to ultimately warn you of the nations of your judgment. But guess what? He's going to send hunters, okay, in that day of destruction. Those are the angelic, the angels, and of course the elect, the 144,000, man, okay, that are destined to get spiritual bodies, man, and fuck shit up. Okay. So the Lord says he's gonna hunt them. It says, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. The Lord know exactly where every bunker is, man. He know everything you got in that bitch. And guess what? You can't hide, man. The Lord know all your plans. It says, for mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face. Neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. Salakia. So there's nothing you can do to hide from the Lord, man. Because this is prophecy for you other nations to be put in captivity, man. We're going to end it off with Psalm 149. All right. This is after you are gathered out of your damn underground bunkers. You're going to be slaves in the kingdom, man. You're going to be tributaries. You're going to be in hardcore bondage and slavery, man. Like the Apostle Tahar said, you're going to be given work assignments. Psalm 149:5. Let the saints be joyful in glory, because our heaven will become your hell. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand. For what? Why is there going to be a two-edged sword in the hand of the saints? To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. The heathen represent the other nations who are not Israelites, by the way. Okay. If you are not part of the elect, first and foremost, you're going to be destroyed. But if you're not an Israelite, okay, you will be a slave in the kingdom of heaven. You will be subservient to the Israelites in the kingdom of heaven. It says to execute vengeance, which is payback, upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. Let's see what it says for vengeance. Lord willing, this video don't go out or stop. All right.
Strong's H 5360. Nakam.
I believe that would be Naquam.
Second entry. Nekama.
Nah.
Nekama.
Paleo Hebrew, I believe, is Naquam, which means vengeance. Khan. Naquam. Khan. It says to avenge, take vengeance, revenge, avenge oneself, be avenged, be punished, okay? To suffer vengeance, okay? And guess what? The prophets are grudging right now. We can't wait to bring you out of power, man. This is music to our ears, man. Okay? Verse 7 again, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people. Okay? You other nations, starting with Esau, Edom, and then you top banking families as well. Verse 8, to bind their kings with chains. So a king is going to be in chains, meaning you're going to go from a position of kingship to a position of servitude, man. The top going to be at the bottom. As it says, the last shall be first and the first shall be last, man. Okay, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. You did it to us. It says to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. We might as well end it off with 1 Corinthians 15 and 24. All right, because just like Yahweh Shai is going to give that power to the elect. All right, he going to be slapping crowns. He going to be the main one slapping crowns off people's heads, man. 1 Corinthians 15 and 24. Then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power, meaning he's slapping crowns off of your head, man. He going to have all crowns on his head because Yahweh Shai he's the King of Kings, man, and the Lord of Lords. Okay? We're talking about Malak Tazadak, all right? The King of Righteousness, man. Okay, verse 25, for he must reign, meaning rule, till he had put all enemies under his feet. And our enemies are spoken. And Psalm, the 83rd chapter, it tells us who the enemies of Israel are. First nation mentioned is the Edomites. Well, guess what? You Amalekites are Edomites as well. Even though Amalek was the grandson of Esau, he was the main Edomite nation to come into power, which are nowadays the top wicked elite, which is ruling everything and calling all the shots, man, you know, and creating all these famines and all these wars and all this confusion and all this wickedness in the earth. Okay, y'all are the ones that got to look forward to being destroyed and put in captivity. Okay, because it's coming. I'm going to leave it there, though. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem, Yahweh Shai B'Shem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you, hopeful elect out there.